We're live. Hey everyone, how you doing?
All right, we're doing a bit of an experiment today because we've realised that we've got a few fans over in the United Kingdom and in Europe, and of course our normal live time at 6 p.m. in the US is in the middle of the morning for them, or early in the hours of the morning. Anyway, so
yeah, I mean we have people all over the planet from what we've done who watch the crew and watch our live broadcasts as we're culminating them. And
hello, Colin.
We're going to try and hit people, hit our live broadcast twice in one day here and see what happens.
Yeah, so this is designed for the European and UK audience, so don't worry if you're in the US and you're worried because you're still at work and you can't watch us. That's okay. We're going live again at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. New York time, and somewhere in the middle if you're in the middle.
But the topic we're going to get to is how we come about getting film projects, how we make decisions on them. And we're also going to try and keep our live broadcasts about 30 minutes.
Because we're kind of doing it twice. It'll be the same topic both times. So if you do miss one, it'll be a copy of the next one. So, yeah. It'll be the same topic, and but as always, we want to remind you guys to ask us questions, because this is a good opportunity. As you know, our videos come out a little bit behind the actual real time of life.
Yeah, so we've already been to China and Australia and all these places, so you can ask us questions on this topic. This is an interactive medium, so definitely ask questions. You know, for my friends, you know, be appropriate. But should we? Dig into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, because we're going to try and keep ourselves to a tight time frame.
Yes.
So the topic was actually brought up a question by one of our viewers, Randy Larson, who asked the question, how do you guys decide on projects?
And that's a really protracted question, which actually boils down into one very simple thing, which we'll extrapolate on. But we essentially get projects through word of mouth, working with other people, networking. I mean, this business is who you know and who you get along with and who they know. So we do a lot of what we call smiling and dialing, which means that we keep in contact with everybody all the time, which is this social media thing. A lot of people are, you know, they kind of go, oh, social media is for fun and sharing this and that. But for us, it's work. We work at social media all the time to keep our networks fresh.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a quick pause to welcome two of our long-time viewers, and they're from the UK. This is why we're doing it for you guys. So welcome Matt and Alex. Colin's also tuned in. Colin has to duck off to get pizza, so I hope you get back in time soon, Colin. Matt, your award is in the mail. It will come to you at some point, but we have sent it.
If we didn't stuff up the address, which we don't think we did.
But hopefully you'll get it. Let us know. So we were talking about networks, which we have talked about extensively in one of our other ones. One of the things we want to make sure is it's never the same process, and this is really hard with film. And any other creative industry, is that how we get one job doesn't necessarily translate to how we get the next one. Certain themes come through, like obviously persistence and constantly calling people and talking with people, that you always do, but it is a little harder to plan out.
Yeah, I think that the idea that there's a system, and I know that we asked that early on, when we were trying to figure out, man, people have got projects piping in, they got all this great stuff going on, how do you do it? They seldom could answer it. We thought, wow, they're being pretty coy about not sharing this information. There must be some secret sauce or secret recipe to getting work in film and etc. And what it dawned on us was that they can't explain it, because almost every time it's different. They're talking with someone that comes up with an idea, or someone has something going on, or another time, you know, it's a link to a project they already had. And
one thing we want to be that does underline all of this, we will have several projects going on at once, and what we call them irons in the fire, and we expect that maybe 4 out of 5 of those will not work. And that sounds like a crazy high percentage, but that's kind of the level that you need to run at for just one to come off. So we'll use some hard examples, and what's currently happening with us now. We have some long-term clients. As you know, we do a lot of work for the Adventure Racing World Series, and so I'm currently cutting a TV show for that at the moment. Also, we're developing we've got 4 briefs. I feel like I've been doing PDF presentations.
2, 3, 4, yeah, 4, maybe 5 projects that we're working on. A sixth project is just come up recently, but we haven't. Yeah, so about, I'd say 5 or 6
4. Now we hope all of them will come off, obviously, but they may not come off at the desired time frame. They may not come off at all, but we push at them as if they will. One of them, and we want to bring some attention to this as well, is we've got a great project that we're in the early stages of. You often see us in the production stages, but if you want to see what it looks like in the early stages, we've got a film called Bato, or Batu, which is a film about the first generation of Nepalese mountain film guides, and it will also be a snowboard film.
Yeah, and this project, the path of this particular project, and this is, I think this is the real interesting part in getting projects, is this lack of a recipe. So we did a project about, well, I guess it would be in February. Was it in February? We did the snow ski project in February up in China in Xinjiang.
So those episodes are all out now. You can jump back onto the playlist and go into China Winter, and you can see this behind the scenes of the ski film that we made.
And you'll see a snowboard athlete in there, Helena Boyd. And so we were trying to find athletes for this project, and we're looking around, and I get a hold of a buddy of mine, Ryan Van Gorder, and I know he's into snowboarding and knows snowboarders. So I'm saying, hey, do you know any snowboarders at all? You know, we're trying to get somebody out to China. We find Helena Boyd with Jeremy Jones Snowboarding, and we take a look at her, and she looks a good fit for the ski film. So we bring her out to China, and we get to know her, and we ski with her. And then that's kind of the end of the project. But then, you know, because we try to, you know, remain some sort of friends or in the network of the people we work with, you know, Viv and I correspond with her. Viv keeps her in the network and keeps pretty tight with her. And then we have another project which we're heading out to Wyoming for. And we go out for that project, and we thought it's going to be a little out of our time, out of our way, and there's going to be some financial cost and etc. to stop into Jackson Hole, where Helena and one other athlete we know happens to live. And we decided to go into Jackson and catch up and visit with Helena. And we do so as we are go into Jackson. We have dinner with her, and then we meet another gentleman there, Noah. And I mean, you can take it from here.
Well, yeah, I mean, the story sounds convoluted, but effectively we met.
It is convoluted.
But this is kind of what we're giving you an idea. We maintain these contacts. So Helena, we worked with on a previous film, and we start talking about her other projects, and we meet other people, and we network, and we take some time out to visit people. Now here we are with a Kickstarter campaign, getting the initial funding to go off and create a pitch video. Now this campaign sadly won't fund the entire film, but it'll fund what we call the very, very, very beginning, it's not barely even pre-production, to raise funds to create the major film. So some of you have actually asked if you can donate to the crew and get us to places. This is actually a fortuitous and very good opportunity. If you feel so inclined, check out our Kickstarter. I'll put a link right now in the comments. And you can find out more about the film. There's a video up there. You can see Helena. You can see our plan for showcasing these female Nepali mountain guides. Sherpas, they're technically not Sherpas, but you may have heard them as Sherpas, which is a huge social revolution for Nepal, which is a largely patriarchal society. So these women will be guiding Helena up to the top of a big famous mountain called Annapurna, and she'll be snowboarding it down. So it'll be a snowboard film with a very big heart in it, and a big change and big awareness for women in Nepal. So and women around the world really. So it's
So go,
check it out. I'll put the link
in
now.
Get over to our Kickstarter and check it out and share it. Would be awesome if you shared that project. But what's really neat is how it culminated, and is what we're talking about here is we had a ski film in China. We met Helena. Through Helena, we decided while we're on another project to stop in Jackson Hole, where we met Helena and Noah Waldron, where we talked with them. And then a few weeks later, Noah comes up and stays up at our place up here and chats with us. We decide to work on a treatment, do the treatment, and we're sitting here today. So that's just one really strange path.
And that's one project.
That's one project.
We've still got another 3 in the works, or in the fire.
Which all kind of followed a not similar path, but just as eclectic path.
So, I mean, how do we decide on them? I think one of the common themes, and this is a good lesson that you could take away and probably apply to many other careers, is we say yes to a lot of opportunities. I have a phrase that I've stolen from my dear mother, which is let them say no. And the idea is that you keep going and you keep moving forward until the environment or the situation or someone higher and more empowered in you ultimately says no. Don't you ever make an excuse for saying no. You keep going forward as much as you can.
I like how this is my adventure racing philosophy. When we adventure raced, I would always tell the team, do not remove yourself from the race course. Make the race course remove you from it. So never leave the environment is what we're saying. Always keep in the environment of, yes, we can do anything. Yes, we want to check this out, and follow it all the way until it doesn't work out.
So we've got a few projects that are a bit like this. There's some that we use Kickstarter to get going. Actually, this is the first time we've used Kickstarter for a film project. So this is, again, it's no format at all. Most of the time we've either been paid by a client or we've raised the funds ourselves. Like the Traveller film was we raised the money ourselves and got paid on the back end through film distributions and award money. But this is the first time we're using Kickstarter, and so we're giving that a go. I mean, as I said, we say yes and we give it a go. We've got a fellow wanting to run around Africa.
Yeah.
He's got a GoFundMe campaign.
Up through Africa.
Up through Africa.
So there's another project came through a friend of a friend. A gentleman wants to run from South Africa up through the Rift Valley over into the Congo, and then on up through the Sudan and heading up to where's he going to finish? I'm not sure where he's going to finish yet. But anyways, that's another project that came to us that we're developing right now. And that project, we often get involved in projects pretty early on. So we not only just produce them, but we usually help raise money for them, market them, get permissions in the different countries, and really scope the entire project. Sometimes we even get involved in the actual event itself because it's so interwoven with the production.
It feels like a mess, and I wish we could give you like a solid piece of advice or a roadmap. Maybe the best thing to do is just kind of keep listening to us and asking questions, because that's how we've figured it out, is talking to people. But what you see, I know there's a lot of chaos in the crew, but that is ironically reasonably structured. By that point, we've got the funding, we've got a mission, we know we've got a film to create, and nothing's going to kind of stop that train. Up until then, we've got train parts all over the place. We haven't got a railway road yet. So,
and it's really interesting because you start to think, oh man, I'm not doing this right. Where's the recipe for getting the projects or running the projects? Or is it as much chaos while we're producing for everyone else as it is for us? Is it this difficult to get a project going? And then when you start to talk, like we talk with a lot of people within the industry in film and television. I was just on the phone yesterday with somebody down in LA, and we were having a laugh at how, projects come to be. They literally just come to be because you immerse yourself in the environment of developing projects, and that's all you talk about, and that's all you interact with. And
you got to be prepared. I will not fluff this up, and this is part of me being a bit of an Australian. It's a bit of an anti-American statement here. You got to be ready for the negatives and downfalls. And it's you got to have the positivity to drive through those moments, because you will, as I said, 4 out of 5 of those irons in the fire will not come off. So you've got to be prepared to go, okay, that didn't work, or the project itself might change the nature of it. You might get less money than you anticipated, and you lose a talent and have to change, and people have life circumstances. It falls to shit. and it really does. But that's when that kind of positive mentality, that's why you have a positive mentality. It's not for the good times.
Yeah.
It's for the bad times.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do want to keep a little bit of a time check because we're
about halfway in.
We're about halfway and we're getting some questions coming
All
through.
right.
So I'm going to read a few questions.
Got a couple questions.
Yeah, we've got a few. Welcome Bill and Beth. Bill wants to know if we just quickly saw the Elephant Temple ruins in Colorado or if you have seen them.
In Colorado? No, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll keep that a look out.
We'll take a look for that.
Beth Patterson says, it's amazing how we go for every opportunity. Thank you. She says her sister will be graduating from film school this year. How did you guys get started?
There's a video that we just did last live broadcast.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, we'll gloss over it right now. But if you jump into our live playlist, it might even be in our previous one. Or
it's our
one.
You can find it on YouTube, and we'll put a link up. To be very succinct, I got started in film. I just made it up. And
then I got a film degree. But our biggest thing is make films. Just start making them. Even if it's going out and making... we had a cameraman who made a story about ants in his backyard. He filmed ants for a day and made a little story about ants. I made a music video with my friend.
I made an African video in my backyard with my children. I think it was my first
Make it. Just make
production.
It. Just take out the iPhone and start making. That's how you build your portfolio. And then it snowballs. So and it's also practice.
What other questions do we have here?
Mats Ekman says...
Oh, Mats, how you doing over in Sweden?
Well, he wants
Good to
know
hear from you.
What are our plans for next year, and are we going to join him in Sweden?
We are going to join you in Sweden unless, life changes, production life changes, which it does constantly. Right now, we're going to join you in Sweden. Yes, it'll be good to see you. And what was the other part of the question?
Do you have any plans for next year?
We have lots of plans for next year.
We're kind of talking about them. We don't know what they're going to be, but we have them.
As Viv said, we will have 10 plans and a few of them will work out. Right now we have plans to be in Sweden, in China again. We will be in Nepal, Reunion Islands,
France, which will be a new one.
Yeah. Where else? We were going to be in the UAE, but I think we're looking at either possibly Africa or Ecuador, maybe. Where else do we? Oh, with our other another non-Air World Series project, we're looking at the Congo, where we might be doing some skiing on Stanley Mountain in the Congo. We are looking at, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. Look it up. It's an amazing place. We're going to take some people and run through the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. We're looking at skiing in Azerbaijan is a project that we're looking at. And those are the ones that come to the top of my mind. I think there's 4 or 5 others. And like we said, a lot of stuff in the fire. India. I think the Western Ghats in India, doing some running in India. So you can see that a lot of these projects will take us all around the world, and some of them won't even go anywhere.
Yeah. Eric's very good at saying that we're going to go somewhere, and I have a philosophy of not announcing it until I have a plane ticket. Actually, not even until I'm even on the plane, because we have a tendency that can still change.
I like to talk about where we're going and develop the projects, and like I said, push them as far as we possibly can, because right when a project looks like it might not pull off, which we had a project last year canceled 2 days before we were to get on the flight to go, and we got on the horn and we pushed it and talked to people, and it happened and it came through. Yeah. So I like to push a project and push it, and right when it looks like it's not going to happen, I start talking about it and talk to everybody and try to solve the problems, and sometimes it still happens. And
I mean, it's not a bad philosophy. I mean, I think
it's a different philosophy.
It's two different ways to cut the cake or skin the cat. We did have a question here from. Yes. Thank you, Bill, for the Elephant Temple ruins. We'll look into it for sure because.
Ask some questions. Again, this is an interactive medium. Ask us about, right now we're talking about how we develop films and how we decide on how to do those films? We probably should talk a little more on how we decide.
Well, I was going to say...
We've got about 10 minutes in our live broadcast right now.
Just a quick one to answer Matt Ward. He wants to know what the first project we did together was. New Zealand. That was easy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Zealand. American New Zealand.
That's right. New Zealand.
4 years ago.
Yeah, and I think if you go back a ways in our live broadcast, I think our first live broadcast, we talk about how we met and started going on projects. And
he had a Fu Manchu mustache.
Yeah.
And
it was nice.
He looked scary. But that's when we met. We were working on a TV show. He was hired as a cameraman and I was hired as a junior editor, and we were working for a different production company, and we worked for that company for a couple of years, and then we split off and decided to bring the work together under our own company. So that's the short story. Yeah,
that's a very short story. The long story, go back and look at one of the...
I'm writing the film script.
Oh yeah, we're making a film about this, by the way. I was going to say how we decide about films.
Yeah, do you want to...
So kind of touched on how, we develop films or how they come about. Basically, to sum it up, talk to people about what you do, about what they do, find common interests, and network. Even when you get to the high levels, yesterday, again, I was talking to somebody, they have some things they're doing with Discovery Channel, literally because they know somebody in Discovery Channel, not because Discovery Channel thinks they're amazing or anything. It's just they know them, and they can pick up that phone, and you want to be able to pick up the phone.
It is in terms of actually deciding, like, what kind of quality of films we're looking for. I mean,
well, sometimes you have to compromise your production levels because of...
Well, no, I think we do have an aesthetic in terms of what we decide on. We have specialized in adventure film.
Unscripted.
I mean, we certainly are developing our scripted stuff, but right now what we've started the company on is unscripted adventure. So we look for stuff that's different. So not just making a snowboard film, for example, but making a snowboard film that addresses a human issue, like the Bartow Project.
We're big on telling a story. We like to tell a story regardless of what the adventure is, I would say.
Yeah, so we like to look, for example, a film about the traveler, the French-American who walked from Alaska across the Bering Strait around the world. He's still going. That, you have to find a story in that. Him just walking isn't a story. People get confused as to what a story is. So the story was how he overcame all of these challenges. It's conflict and resolution. So we looked for that, and that had a lot of conflict and resolution. He was arrested. He had to apologize to Putin on national TV.
Tried to give up a few times, burnt down his tent. These are great arcs, or these are great stepping stones in the arc of a story that we try to look for in everything. And you can find a story in everything, even in a little ant colony you might film. If you stare at it long enough, you'll find a story.
Find a little story. So we look for story, we look for heart. We do look for stuff that is adventurous. Eric, in developing 2 of our projects for our ultra runners, he researched very remote islands that you can ski on. He researched parts of the Stan countries like Azerbaijan
and also where can you ski? Not where do people ski, but where is it possible to ski where
are there mountains with snow on them?
in the Congo.
So we decide on a project, also the people that we're working with, and that can be people behind the scenes. That helps us decide on a project.
Character is just as important as story.
Yeah, but this is also not just in the film, but behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes,
we also decide based on the people that bring us. So Helena, who we had met and worked with, we knew her work ethic, we knew what she was like, and so we wanted to work with her again. So that helped us decide on Bartow. Because
when you go, some of you listening are starting to do film or starting to work on your own projects. Remember this. Everybody at the beginning of a project is so excited, and it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be exciting, and we're going to work like a Swiss Army knife, and blah, 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 blah. I like that enthusiasm. It's great. It is going to dash on the rocks of reality and disappear quickly. And I'm a positive guy.
You need a team. You need to really find a team that everyone's going to get frustrated, everyone's going to get pissed off. I've been pissed off at Eric before, and vice versa.
What? Never.
But it's your ability to kind of pick yourself up for that. As I said, a positive attitude is not for the good times. Positive attitude is for when stuff goes wrong. You
cannot take things personally. You've got to know that people are doing things that are... in their self-interest. That's human nature. And so when you go to develop these projects and you start to build a team, which you do need to have a team to do projects like this, you got to have thick skin. Don't take things personally. And even though you've spent a lot of time picking good people to work with, people you like, those are going to be the most dangerous people, are the ones that are close to you and you like. And just be patient with everyone. Yeah. And remember, focus on the vision. Focus on the vision.
You'll
like
notice
a laser
in the
beam.
crew, we have a lot of reoccurring people. You know, Brian has come back. You've seen him in Alaska. Alyssa. I mean, we've worked with Brian even before we started filming our behind the scenes. And Alyssa. Larkin's been in a couple of projects, and we're desperate to get Larkin back again. So it's, you know, there's a lot of reoccurring faces, and there's a reason for that, because those people we trust and we work well with, and so that helps us decide on a project as well.
Yeah, you can
if it's some horrible place on the planet with good people and a good story, we'll be there. I mean, he'll be there.
Remember where we work. It's a film production or a television production in itself is already crazy and insane and pulls people apart. Now take that whole thing and put it in the jungle or the desert, and
I mean, you've been watching the episodes.
People are gonna lose their shit and go crazy. And
you can tell a lot about a person about how they react to jungle rot on their foot.
Yeah, right there. Drop somebody in the jungle for a while, see how they react to the jungle for a week, then decide to work with them in film. Yeah,
that's a good or ticks, like put ticks in their bed. Don't do that. Yeah, really, really bad idea. But hypothetically, if you could find yourself in a scenario as to how somebody would react to ticks on their body, that's also a good indication of how someone reacts in a crisis.
And all these examples we're giving you,
they're very real.
They're very real. You can find them in all the episodes of The Crew here. We've literally gone through all of this stuff.
I mean, you can see me at a pretty weak point in only one of the early Alaskan episodes, episode 8. You know, there's no way I wanted to cross that river again.
Yeah, and you can see her at a weak point, I think, in Belize, too.
All right, let's not point out.
And I think... We all have weak points, and that's why you have to have a good team.
I'm cutting a big crew montage at the moment. There's a lot of shots of Eric falling down, so let's not worry about
weak because points. I push it to the limit.
Speaking of the limit...
Have we gone off track?
That's actually the best stuff when it goes off track. We've got about a minute left. We're trying to keep these succinct and to the point so that you can watch them when you come back and watch them.
Succinct 30 minutes.
Right. So we've got a minute left. Hopefully we've answered all your questions. Just write them in the comment and below, like when this becomes an actual like non-live video, and then I always get back and respond to you guys.
But I think to sum up what we've talked about here, the first thing, go check out our Kickstarter for our film Bato, A Woman's Path, about telling the story of the first generation of Nepalese female mountain guides. Go check that out. Also, we were talking about what it takes to develop films and work around this type of medium. And that is networking, talking. We're talking about the recipe that there is.
Which is good people, both behind and in front of the camera, people you can trust, particularly if you're going into crazy environments. You look for interesting environments that people haven't seen before, so we can share the world with you. And we look for that story. So it's that someone solving a conflict. That's the heart of a story. And
remember, there is no path or recipe to do this. If somebody says they've got it all figured out, they're BSing you. Every single project on a super high level up at the big networks, right down to, you know, somebody doing their first film. You're just figuring it out and making it up as you go and solving problems, it's
constantly changing. You know, YouTube's changed on us in the time that we've just been here. Algorithms on Instagram are constantly changing. You got to update your game. I mean, when I first started in TV, YouTube, it wasn't really a thing. It was just where you went to watch cat videos. Yeah. So
if you want to become a videographer, filmmaker, television producer, whatever it is, do this. See your vision at the end of 100 yards or 100 meters. That's your vision. That's what you want to make. Now put 100 problems that are really difficult to solve between here and there.
But then you don't have to put them, they'll just come.
And ask yourself, can I work through all those and keep going when it looks like it will never work? And if you're that type of person, if you can do that, Well, you're going to be pretty good in life, but you're definitely going to be able to do a film. Ta-da!
All right.
All right, guys.
We're going to wrap up the philosophy channel over here, and we'll be back again with exactly the same topic. So if we didn't get to your question or you wanted for us to expound on it a little more, feel free to jump back in about 6 hours?
Yeah,
8 hours.
We'll be back here at 6 p.m.
So this is for the American
Pacific Standard Time.
Which is about 9 p.m. on the other coast of America.
All right, and the rest of the world, just do the math. All right, guys.
Well, thank you, Europe and UK, for tuning in, and
we'll see you at 6 o'clock on the Pacific Coast time. Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye.